close your eyes and imagine this. The night is so still, it feels as though the world itself has fallen asleep. Above you, the moon hangs like a glowing lantern, and below, the sea whispers secrets only you can hear. You lean over the edge of a tiny wooden boat, the water glowing softly beneath your touch. Then, faintly, delicately, you hear it. A whisper, not the whisper of another person, but of the ocean itself, calling your name, inviting you into a journey that belongs not to the waking world, but to dreams. The night was quiet, so quiet that the world itself seemed to be holding its breath. Above, the moon drifted like a silver lantern hung in the heavens, casting a long white path across the ocean's surface. The sea stretched endlessly in every direction, dark and deep, yet gentle tonight. Its waves rose and fell in a rhythm so steady that it felt like the heartbeat of the earth itself. If you closed your eyes, you could hear it, the ocean's lullaby. The swish of waves against the shore, the faint rustle of a distant breeze, the soft tapping of water against wood. It was the kind of music that did not need instruments, for it had been playing since the beginning of time. And then, hidden within that music, there came something else. A sound so faint, so delicate, that you might miss it if you weren't listening closely enough. A whisper, not the whisper of another person, but something deeper, older. It seemed to rise from the sea itself, weaving between the ripples, curling through the air like smoke. On a small wooden boat, drifting with no destination, sat a young dreamer named Elara. Her hair caught the moonlight in strands of silver, her eyes heavy from the long day, but wide with wonder at the beauty around her. She pulled her shawl tighter against the night breeze, yet she did not feel afraid. The sea was too calm for fear, too soothing for worry. She leaned over the edge of the boat, her reflection shimmering in the dark water below. For a moment, she thought she saw more than just her face. The ripples moved strangely, as if shapes were forming beneath the surface, shapes that flickered like shadows of stories untold. She blinked, and the images were gone, leaving only her reflection staring back at her. Then the whisper came again. It was soft, like the brush of wind against the ear, so soft that she wasn't sure if it was real or if it was just her imagination, the way the mind plays gentle tricks when sleep begins to tug at its edges. But this time, she felt the words inside her, not just outside. "Come closer," the whisper seemed to say. Elara's heart gave a small jump. She sat back on the wooden bench of her boat and looked around, but there was no one. No other vessels sailed nearby. No voices carried from distant shores. Only the endless sea and the wide open sky. Her boat rocked gently, as though encouraging her not to be afraid. She pressed her palm flat against the side of the boat, feeling the wood warm from the day's sun, and then dipped her fingers into the water. The moment her skin touched the sea, the surface seemed to glow. Ripples spread outward in shining circles, faint at first, then brighter, as though the ocean had been waiting for her touch. The glow moved away from her hand, trailing off into the distance like a path of starlight upon the waves. Elara's eyes widened in awe. "Is this for me?" she whispered back, as if the sea could hear her. The ocean did not answer with words, but with movement. The boat shifted softly, not by her oars, not by the wind, but by something unseen. It began to drift toward the glowing path, rocking gently, like a cradle carrying her deeper into a dream. Elara held her breath, her eyes following the shimmering trail. It looked as though the very stars had fallen into the sea and were guiding her somewhere beyond the horizon. Her thoughts began to slow, her heartbeat steadying with the rhythm of the waves. And though she did not know where the sea was leading her, she felt no fear. Only calm, only peace. The whisper of the dark sea was not a warning. It was an invitation. And so, under the watchful moon, Elara let the ocean carry her where it wished. The sea's whisper grew clearer with every gentle sway of the boat. It was not sharp or frightening, not like thunder that demands to be heard. No, this sound was tender, as if the waves themselves were singing only for her. It reminded Elara of lullabies she had once heard as a child, soft, repetitive, and filled with comfort. The ocean did not shout. It invited. She dipped her fingers once more into the cool water, and again, the glow appeared, circles of light blooming outward like petals opening on the surface. The light did not fade. Instead, it stretched farther and farther, until it seemed to weave a path across the sea. Each wave along this glowing trail shimmered like liquid glass, catching the reflection of the stars above. Elara's breath caught in her throat. It was as though she had been given a secret bridge between worlds, half water, half sky. She felt as if she was no longer sailing through the ocean at all, but drifting across the heavens themselves. Above her, countless stars flickered like silver fireflies, and below, the glowing waves mirrored them, creating the illusion that she was floating inside a great universe made entirely of light. The little wooden boat began to move on its own. No oars touched the water, no wind pressed against the sails. Something unseen, something gentle, was carrying her forward. The steady pull was calming, like being rocked by invisible hands, urging her deeper into the sea's embrace. Elara. She froze. The whisper had returned, clearer now, closer. It was not loud, but she could not mistake it. Her name. The sea had spoken her name. Her heart beat faster, though not with fear. It was a strange kind of thrill, the way a dream can feel both impossible and perfectly natural at the same time. She leaned forward, her eyes scanning the glowing trail ahead. The ocean seemed alive, watching, listening, speaking. "Follow," the whisper breathed. Elara wrapped her shawl tighter around her shoulders and let her eyes flutter half-closed. The voice was so calming that it seemed to melt away the last of her hesitation. She let herself sink into its rhythm, her body swaying with the boat as though they were one. The water's glow thickened, spreading like ribbons of light that curled and twisted across the waves. The stars above seemed to dip lower, as if bending down to watch her journey. For a moment, she imagined that the entire sky was guiding her, that the moon and the stars had all conspired with the ocean to lead her somewhere unknown but safe. The further she drifted, the quieter the world became. The boat creaked softly, the waves lapped against its sides, but beyond that, silence. A silence so complete, so comforting, it wrapped around her like a blanket. Even her thoughts began to quiet. The worries of the day, the questions of tomorrow, the noise of life itself, gone. All that remained was the sea's soft whisper and the glowing path ahead. Elara touched the side of the boat, tracing her fingers along the worn wood, grounding herself in the moment. She realized she was not just traveling across the sea. She was being carried into a dream. Her breath slowed, her heartbeat matching the rhythm of the waves. Her eyes grew heavier with each passing minute, yet her spirit felt lighter, freer, as though it floated just above her body. She closed her eyes, letting the whisper wash over her once more. "Follow the whispers," it said again, like a promise. And she did. The boat sailed gently, rocking her into deeper calm, carrying her farther away from the world she knew, and deeper into the mystery of the dark sea. The glowing path carried Elara deeper into the heart of the dark sea. The night sky stretched endlessly above her, stars scattered like diamonds across velvet. The silence of the ocean felt sacred now, as if she were drifting inside a vast cathedral of water and light. She leaned over the boat's side, gazing into the depths below. At first, she saw only shifting shadows, dark shapes gliding silently through the water. Her breath caught. Was it her imagination? Or were there creatures beneath her, keeping pace with the boat? The water glowed faintly in response, revealing outlines that grew clearer with every ripple. Slowly, gracefully, The shadows rose toward the surface. And then she saw them, giant sea turtles, their shells enormous, patterned with glowing constellations as if the stars themselves had carved their stories into the ancient armor. Elara gasped softly, her hand flying to her mouth. Never had she seen such creatures, so majestic, so calm. They did not stir fear, but awe. Their movements were slow, deliberate, like dancers performing a ritual as old as the sea. The light of the moon shimmered across their shells, and for a moment, she wondered if they were made not of flesh, but of the night sky itself. One turtle, larger than the rest, glided closer to her boat. Its eyes glowed faintly, two orbs of gentle twilight, deep and kind, carrying the wisdom of centuries. Elara felt the world pause. The creature lifted its head above the water, and though its mouth never moved, a voice echoed softly in her mind. "Traveler of dreams," it said, low and steady, "you are safe here." Elara's heart skipped, but the voice calmed her more than it startled her. It was warm, reassuring, like the voice of a guardian she had always known but forgotten until now. "The dark sea holds many secrets," the turtle continued, "but it is not to be feared. These waters cradle the memories of all who have dreamed before you. Every whisper, every ripple, every shimmer of light. These are the stories of countless souls, gently kept by the sea." Elara listened, her eyes wide but her spirit calm. The words felt like waves, rocking her deeper into peace. She let them wash over her, each sentence dissolving the weight of the world she had carried into the night. Other turtles surfaced around her, circling the boat in quiet harmony. Their presence was neither threatening nor chaotic. It was protective, as though they formed a living shield around her vessel. One by one, they began to hum, a low, resonant sound that vibrated through the water, through the wood of the boat, and into her very chest. The hum was more than music. It was medicine. Every note soothed her heartbeat, slowed her breathing, and softened the edges of her thoughts. The melody was deep, ancient, endless. It was the kind of sound you did not simply hear. You felt it in your bones. Elara closed her eyes, letting the song fill her. She imagined it as a net of light, catching her worries, carrying them away into the sea. The tension in her body loosened, her shoulders dropped, and even her mind, restless and curious, grew still. "Rest, dreamer," the great turtle whispered once more. "The sea remembers for you. You need only drift." Elara smiled faintly, her lips curving in a peaceful surrender. She lay back against the boat's wooden bench, staring at the stars above as the hum of the guardians wrapped around her. The night no longer felt dark. It felt endless, protective, eternal. The turtles swam in slow, deliberate circles, their glowing shells like constellations painting the water. Around her, the ocean whispered its lullaby, and within her, her spirit sank deeper into tranquility. She was no longer alone on her journey. She was guided, watched over, cared for. The guardians of the deep had welcomed her into their ancient song. And with that, Elara let her eyes close, carried by the rhythm of the sea, the song of the turtles, and the whispers of the dark sea that promised she was safe. The boat drifted forward as though drawn by invisible threads of light. Elara's body swayed gently with its rhythm, her eyelids heavy but her curiosity still alive. She had surrendered to the whispers of the sea, and now they carried her to a place beyond her imagination. Far ahead, through the shimmering glow, she saw something rise from the horizon. At first, she thought it was a trick of the stars, a mirage painted by the ocean's surface. But as the boat neared, the shape grew clearer. It was land, a small island resting like a jewel upon the dark waters. The sand glistened faintly, not with the pale white of ordinary beaches, but with a glow as if moonlight had settled into every grain. The island shimmered softly under the night sky, as though it belonged more to dreams than to the waking world. Elara's heart stirred. She did not feel fear. Instead, she felt as though she had been expected, as if the island had been waiting only for her. The whispers of the dark sea surrounded her, harmonizing with the turtle's distant hum, urging her forward. The boat touched shore with a sound softer than a sigh. Elara stepped out, her bare feet sinking into the glowing sand. To her surprise, it felt warm, like sunlit silk, though the night was cool. She let her toes curl into it, grounding herself in the new wonder before her. Palm trees lined the island, their leaves swaying gently in the night breeze. But these were not ordinary palms. Their trunks shimmered faintly with golden veins, and when the wind rustled their fronds, the sound was not harsh but tender, like whispers layered one over another. A chorus of voices speaking softly. Rest now. You are safe. Elara's chest rose and fell in a slow breath. The air smelled of salt and jasmine, fresh and sweet, a fragrance that seemed designed to calm the spirit. She walked further inland, her steps leaving glowing imprints that slowly faded behind her, as though the island itself was recording her journey, but choosing not to keep it. At the center of the island stood something extraordinary. A hammock, woven not from rope or fabric, but from threads of golden light, swayed gently between two palm trees. The threads shimmered like sunlight caught in a web, yet they looked soft enough to cradle even the most restless dreamer. Elara hesitated only a moment. Then she approached, touching the glowing weave with her fingertips. It was warm, like the embrace of a loved one. Without thinking further, she lay down upon it, her body sinking into its weightless comfort. Above her, the stars seemed to lean closer. The sky was no longer distant. It curved overhead like a protective dome, as if the universe itself had drawn near to watch her sleep. The moon glowed brighter, its silver light pouring gently over the hammock like a blanket. Elara let her eyes drift shut. The whispers of the palms rustled above her, blending with the lull of the waves. Rest now, they repeated, as if weaving their words into her dreams. Her body grew heavy, but her spirit felt lighter than air. She felt as though she were floating between the earth and sky, held by both, belonging to both. And in that moment, as her breathing slowed and her thoughts dissolved into stillness, Elara knew she had reached the island of rest. A place beyond maps, beyond time, beyond worry. A place that lived only in whispers, waiting for dreamers like her to find it. Elara lay in the golden hammock, her body light as air, her spirit lulled by the steady rhythm of the sea. The night sky above seemed impossibly close now, as if the stars had bent down just to keep her company. Their silver glow shimmered across the island, painting every palm leaf, every grain of sand, with a soft, dreamlike light. Her breathing slowed, in and out, each breath in rhythm with the waves that curled against the shore. She was no longer just a traveler on the ocean. She was part of it now, woven into its whispers, cradled by its endless embrace. And then, as her mind floated on the edge of sleep, she felt something stir inside her. It was not fear, not even surprise, but a sense of release, like letting go of something heavy she had been carrying for far too long. She felt herself rising, not her body, but her spirit. It lifted gently, like mist rising from water, drifting upward with the night breeze. She hovered above the hammock, above the glowing sand, above the island itself. And still, she felt no fear. The sea had promised safety, and she trusted it with her whole being. From her place above, she saw the dark sea stretching out forever, vast, calm, and endless. The glowing path she had followed shimmered like a silver ribbon across the water, winding back into infinity. The guardians of the deep swam below, their shells glowing like constellations beneath the surface. They circled slowly, singing their low, steady song, their hum resonating through the water and into her very soul. On the island, the palms swayed gently, their leaves whispering as though they, too, were singing her into rest. The hammock of golden light glowed brighter, pulsing softly like a heartbeat, as if holding a piece of her even as her spirit drifted away. Elara, the sea whispered again. Its voice was soft, eternal, like the voice of a mother, a friend, a guardian. Sleep now, dreamer. The sea will protect you. The words wrapped around her like a blanket. They sank into her, becoming part of her heartbeat, part of her breath. She felt her spirit floating higher, not leaving, but expanding, stretching beyond the island, beyond the sea, into the endless fabric of the stars. Everywhere she looked, there was peace. The ocean shimmered below, the sky sparkled above, and in between, she drifted weightless, untroubled, eternal. Elara. The whisper came once more, fainter now, but filled with love. Your dreams will travel farther than the horizon. Her eyelids grew heavier in her body below, sinking deeper into the hammock's warm glow. Her lips curved into the faintest smile, and then, quiet. Her breath matched the waves, steady and calm. Her dreams stretched beyond the sea, into the stars, into forever. And so, the dark sea whispered on. It whispered to the turtles, to the palms, to the stars above. It whispered to anyone who might listen, anyone who might pause long enough to hear. For the sea's promise was not only for Elara. It is for you too. Perhaps even now, as you listen, you can hear it, the soft call of the ocean, the steady rhythm of the waves, the endless lullaby of the dark sea. It tells you the same truth it told Elara. You are safe. You are cared for. You can rest. So close your eyes. Let the whispers guide you, and drift into your own eternal dream. As Elara drifts into her eternal dream, may the whispers of the dark sea carry you to your own peaceful rest. If this story helped you relax tonight, please like the video and subscribe for more soothing bedtime tales. Together, we'll journey through many more dreamscapes under the stars. Sweet dreams, dear listener.